The distress signal first hit the outer relay stations near Jupiter. At first, the brass thought it was some garbled cosmic noise. Then the analysts cleaned it up. What came through wasn't noise. It was a call for help. Captain Nathan Cole sat in the command chair of the Vanguard, Earth's oldest deep space carrier still in operation. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't even particularly liked by command. Too many black marks on his record. Too many times he'd refused to play the political game. But the Vanguard was still armed, still space-worthy, and Cole still knew how to command a crew when the chips were down. "Sir, transmission cleaned up. Sending it to your console now," said Lieutenant. Harper. Cole read the decoded message. Multiple words stuck out like knives. Fleet disabled. Engines destroyed. Life support failing. Requesting immediate assistance. Non-hostile. It wasn't human. The language wasn't Earth standard, but the translation software confirmed it came from an alien species. The same species that, up until 2 years ago, had refused to even acknowledge human existence. Cole leaned back, running a hand through the stubble on his jaw. "So now they need us." Commander Richter, his XO, grunted. "Sir, if they're stranded, it could be a trap." "Everything out here could be a trap," Cole said. "Question is, do we answer or do we let him die in the dark?" He already knew the answer. Command hadn't exactly sent him out here with a long leash. They didn't trust him, but they also knew he got results. And Cole wasn't about to let a fleet die if he could help it. Not because he cared about those aliens, but because it was the kind of thing that would haunt a man later. And hell, there was always the chance this could pay dividends. Saving someone, even an alien, might buy humanity a bargaining chip. "Helm," he said, "plot a course. Take us to that signal." 6 days later, the Vanguard dropped out of FTL near the edge of an uncharted nebula. What they found was worse than the reports. A massive fleet, at least 20 capital ships, floated dead in space. Scorch marks scarred their hulls. Most of them were barely running on emergency lights. A few were venting atmosphere into the void. "Jesus," Harper whispered. "Looks like they got torn to shreds." Cole studied the wreckage. "Get me a detailed scan. I want to know what hit them." "No sign of any hostiles in the area," said Richter. "Whoever did this, they're long gone." Cole opened a channel. He spoke slowly, waiting for the translator to catch up. "This is Captain Nathan Cole of the Earth Starship Vanguard. We received your distress signal. State your condition." A few tense moments passed. Then a reply crackled through the comm. "This is Fleet Commander Kael'thar of the Zoran Dominion. Engines destroyed. Over 70% of crew incapacitated. Oxygen reserves depleted. We request assistance. We are not hostile." Cole leaned back in his chair. Zoran Dominion, the same species that just a few years ago had declared humanity unworthy of galactic dialogue. Now they were begging for help. He keyed the mic. "Understood. We will dispatch repair teams and medical aid. Stand by." He killed the channel and looked at Richter. "Suit up 2 engineering teams and a medical team. I want them over there in under an hour." "You trust them?" Richter asked. "Number, but I'm not letting them suffocate. If this is a trap, we'll find out soon enough." The first boarding shuttles crossed the void cautiously. The Zorans allowed them entry, and what the human crews found inside was grim. Bodies floated in darkened corridors. The air stank of burned metal and chemicals. Wounded Zoran crew, some of them barely conscious, stared at the humans with hollow eyes. They were humanoid, tall and wiry, with grayish skin and deep-set black eyes. There was no fight left in them, only desperation. Chief Engineer Dawson reported in. "Sir, it's bad. Their reactors are offline. Their life support is failing across the fleet. I'd say they have maybe 48 hours before they're all dead." Cole nodded grimly. "Then we get to work." For the next 3 days, The Vanguard's crew worked around the clock. Portable generators were rigged. Emergency oxygen was pumped into failing compartments. Engineering teams jury-rigged the alien engines just enough to stabilize power. Medical teams treated hundreds of wounded. Word spread fast across human channels. Not everyone approved. "Why the hell are we risking our necks for them?" Dawson muttered. 2 years ago, they wouldn't even speak to us. Cole overheard. "Because if we don't, we're no better than they were." He didn't say the other part out loud, the part that gnawed at his gut. "If this goes wrong, we may regret ever answering that damn signal." The constant hum of emergency repair tools echoed through the dim corridors of the Zeran flagship. Human engineers worked in pairs, always armed, always watching their surroundings. Even with the aliens half dead, trust was thin out here. Captain Cole's orders were clear. Help them, but stay ready to pull out the second things turned ugly. Cole stood in the Vanguard's forward observation deck, staring at the alien fleet through reinforced glass. 20 capital ships hung in space like wounded animals. Even after 3 days of repair efforts, only a handful had partial power. Life support was holding, barely. "Commander on deck," Richter announced, stepping in with a data tablet in hand. Cole didn't turn around. "Give it to me." Richter came to his side. "Latest report. We've stabilized life support on 7 ships. Reactor repairs are ongoing. Best case, we'll have full power to at least 4 ships in the next 72 hours. Casualty estimates. Grim. Over 15,000 Zeran dead. Another 10,000 critically wounded." Cole exhaled slowly. The numbers meant something. They always did, even if they weren't human. "Any signs of whoever attacked them?" Cole asked. Richter shook his head. "Negative. No residual energy signatures. No debris field from a battle. Whatever hit them was surgical, struck fast, hard, and vanished." Cole's jaw tightened. "That's what worries me." There was a knock at the deck entrance. The door slid open, and Lieutenant Harper stepped through, looking tense. "Sir, we have an incoming message from the Zeran fleet commander. He's requesting an audience with you, in person." Richter frowned. Bold, considering their position. Cole finally turned from the viewport. "Patch it through." Moments later, Cole stood on the Vanguard's bridge, facing the holo projector. A shimmering figure appeared. Fleet Commander Kael'thar. The alien's gaunt face was marked with ritual scars, eyes sunken from exhaustion. Even in defeat, he radiated an old, cold pride. "Captain Cole," the alien said in accented English, voice rough. "Your people have saved many of ours. For this, I give thanks." Cole kept his tone even. "We answered a distress call. Nothing more." Kael'thar tilted his head. "Humility. Unexpected. Most of your kind we encountered before spoke only of conquest or submission." Cole crossed his arms. "Times change, and I'm not most of my kind." A long silence passed. Then Kael'thar spoke again. "I request parley, face to face. There are truths you must know." Richter leaned in and whispered, "Sir, this could be a trap." Cole's lips twitched into a grim smile. "Everything out here could be a trap. Set it up. I'll go." An hour later, Cole boarded a small shuttle with 2 security escorts. He wore full combat armor, not to intimidate, but because he wasn't stupid. The Vanguard's crew watched the shuttle depart with unease. None of them liked this mission. Hell, neither did Cole. But if the Zeran fleet commander wanted to talk, there had to be a reason. The shuttle docked with the Zeran flagship, a towering, scarred vessel that had once been a symbol of Zeran superiority. Now it was a crippled hulk, barely running on backup power. As the airlock hissed open, Cole and his men stepped into the alien ship. The corridors were dim and cold. Zaran crew moved slowly, many wounded, their expressions wary. They watched the humans with a mix of fear, curiosity, and something else. Resentment. A young Zaran officer led them to a central chamber. The doors opened to reveal Kael'thar, seated on a high-backed metallic throne. His command staff flanked him, thin and pale from days of deprivation. Cole approached with slow, deliberate steps. He removed his helmet, tucking it under one arm. No point hiding his face now. Kael'thar rose with effort. "Captain Cole, I did not think your kind would come." Cole's eyes narrowed. "You sent a distress signal. We answered, that's all." Kael'thar gestured to a table. "Sit. There is more you must hear." Cole nodded once and took a seat, his men standing guard behind him. Kael'thar leaned forward. "We did not fall to your kind, nor to any force known in this sector. What struck us was something else." Cole's voice was flat. "Explain." Kael'thar's gaze darkened. "We were pursued, across 6 systems, by ships of unknown origin, faster than anything we've seen, weapons that burned through our shields like paper. No demands, no communication, just destruction." Cole processed this carefully. "You're saying something new is out here?" Kael'thar's nod was slow. "We do not know what they are, but they left no survivors, no prisoners. Our fleet barely escaped." Cole tapped a finger on the table. "And you didn't think to warn us?" A flicker of shame crossed Kael'thar's features. "We believed your kind beneath such matters. A mistake." Cole's jaw tightened. "A mistake that could get my people killed." Another long silence fell. Then Kael'thar straightened. "Now, we owe you. The debt is yours to call." Cole met his gaze. "I didn't come for debts. I came because it was the right thing to do. But if this threat is real, we're going to need answers." Kael'thar's eyes gleamed. "Then we will fight together." Back aboard the Vanguard, Cole paced the briefing room, while Richter, Harper, and Chief Dawson watched. "So," Richter said, "they're running scared. Something wiped out half their fleet. And they're hoping we'll bail them out again," Dawson added darkly. Cole stopped pacing. "It's worse than that. If those ships hit Earth space, we won't be ready. Whatever crippled the Zarans didn't leave a trace. No communications, no signatures. Ghost ships." Harper looked uneasy. "Sir, do we trust them? They could be playing us." Cole shook his head. "I don't trust them, but I believe them. No fleet takes that kind of beating and begs for help unless it's real." He looked each officer in the eye. "We're staying until their ships are flight-capable. After that, we follow the trail." Richter exhaled sharply. "You want to hunt these things?" "I want to know what's out here," Cole said grimly, "before it finds us first." Days stretched into weeks. The Vanguard's crew kept working, welding alien bulkheads, restoring reactor cores, patching life support. Tensions ran high, fights broke out in the mess halls. Some human engineers refused to share tools or food with the Zarans. "They looked down on us," one tech snapped. "Now they beg for scraps." Cole shut the arguments down hard. "We're here to do a job. Leave the politics for later." But even Cole couldn't ignore the growing friction. His own crew was questioning him more openly now. "You really trust these bastards, Captain?" Dawson asked one night in private. "You really think they'll stand with us when the shooting starts again?" Cole looked him dead in the eye. "I don't give a damn if they stand with us. I care about keeping our people alive. And if this threat is real, we'll need every ship that can still fly." Dawson grunted. "You're putting a hell of a lot on a long shot." Cole's voice was low. "It's the only shot we've got." Finally, after nearly a month, The first Zeran cruisers powered up and maneuvered under their own control. Their fleet was still a battered shadow of its former strength, but they could fight again. Kael'thar sent another message to Cole. "We are ready, and we have traced a possible route of the attackers. If you will stand with us, we will show you." Cole stood on the Vanguard's bridge, gazing at the battered alien fleet. "Helm," he said, voice steady. "Prepare to follow the Zerans. Plot an intercept course." Richter glanced over. "No turning back now, is there?" Cole's lips thinned. There never was. As the Vanguard moved into formation with the wounded alien ships, Cole stared into the black ahead. Whatever's out there, it's coming, and this time, humanity won't be able to hide behind its pride. The black of space stretched endless ahead of them, stars distant and cold. The Vanguard moved in tight formation with the crippled Zeran fleet, their scarred ships gliding like wounded predators, silent and wary. Captain Nathan Cole stood at the center of the bridge, arms crossed over his chest, eyes fixed on the forward display. No one spoke much anymore. A month of repairs and constant tension had worn his crew thin. Resentment simmered beneath the surface. Too many had seen friends working side by side with the same aliens who once called them lesser beings. The younger crew especially, raised on stories of Zeran arrogance, were the worst. Fights had broken out more than once. Cole had put them down hard. Discipline wasn't a suggestion aboard his ship. Not now. Not when something worse than old grudges was lurking out there. "Approaching jump point, Captain," Harper reported from the helm. Cole nodded. "Status of the Zeran ships?" 4 cruisers operational. 2 heavy destroyers under limited power. The flagship barely holding cohesion. Richter glanced over. Not exactly a fleet to inspire confidence. Cole's jaw tightened. "They're what we've got." The jump coordinates had been provided by Kael'thar, a route they claimed led toward the last known position of their attackers. It wasn't a system on any human charts. Unmapped, unclaimed, deep space. Harper hesitated. "Sir, are we sure about this? We're following them blind." Cole's voice was quiet but firm. "I know." Truth was, he wasn't sure of anything. Kael'thar might be lying, desperate to drag humanity into a war that wasn't theirs. But something about the Zeran commander's haunted eyes. That was no bluff. No fleet would fake the kind of wounds the Zerans had taken. And Cole trusted his instincts. They hadn't failed him yet. "Prepare for FTL transition," he ordered. The Vanguard's engines roared to life, vibrations running through the deck like a heartbeat. One by one, the battered Zeran ships signaled ready. The stars outside twisted and blurred. Then the universe shattered into streaks of light as the fleet jumped. The transition was rougher than usual. Cole gripped the edge of his chair as the ship shook, alarms briefly flickering. "Grav shear, compensating," Harper called. "Engineering report," Richter barked into the comm. Chief Dawson's voice came back crackling. "Grav fields are off calibration. This jump lane is unstable, never been charted by human nav systems." Figures, Cole thought grimly. They were running blind on someone else's path. He held his breath as the turbulence eased and the stars realigned. "Transition complete," Harper said, voice strained. "Status?" Cole asked. Richter scanned the board. "No major damage. Zeran fleet. Emerging now." One by one, the alien ships snapped into normal space around them. A dark, cold system stretched ahead, an ancient star burning weak and red, surrounded by a thin debris field and 3 dead moons. "This is it?" Cole asked quietly. A ping came through, Kael'thar's signal. This was the last system where our forward scouts detected the unknown fleet. They vanished beyond this point. Cole frowned. "No wreckage?" "None. Our sensors lost all trace of them here. Harper spoke up. Sir, I'm picking up odd gravitational anomalies. Local space is distorted. Cole's gut tightened. Let's not waste time. Full sensor sweep. Weapons hot. Hours passed in tense silence. The Vanguard scanners combed every inch of the system, but nothing answered back. No ships, no signals. Just cold void and shifting distortions their instruments couldn't quite explain. Down in the mess, the crew was restless. Cole could feel it every time he walked the decks. Unease turning to fear. No enemy you could see, no target to fight. Just empty space and old ghosts. In the officer's wardroom, Richter finally voiced what many were thinking. Sir, this feels wrong. We're exposed here. Sitting ducks. Cole took a sip of bitter coffee, gaze distant. I know. We should pull back, Richter said. Rearm, regroup. Bring a proper task force. Cole's eyes hardened. By the time we do that, whatever's out here will be gone again, or worse, on our doorstep. Dawson, standing by the hatch, spoke quietly. Not to mention Command won't believe a damn word of this. They'll think we're chasing shadows. Cole set the mug down with a soft clang. Then we bring back proof. That proof came sooner than anyone wanted. 12 hours into the sweep, the Vanguard's long-range sensors caught something. Brief, faint, like a ripple across a pond. Unknown contact, Harper called. Bearing 284, low orbit of the outer moon. Cole was on his feet instantly. Visual. The screen flickered, then sharpened. A sliver of metallic hull gleamed against the dark moon. No known configuration. No markings. Is it Zaran? Richter asked. Harper shook her head. Negative. Doesn't match any database. Kael'thar's signal came through at once. That is one of them. Prepare for engagement. Cole's voice cut through the tension. Battle stations, bring us in. The Vanguard powered forward, weapons armed, flanked by the Zaran cruisers. The alien object remained still. No movement, no power surge. Why aren't they reacting? Dawson muttered from engineering. Cole didn't answer. His instincts screamed trap. Harper scanned for... Before he could finish, alarms shrieked. Multiple contacts, Harper shouted. They're decloaking, surrounding us. The view screen exploded with motion. Shapes flickered into being. Sleek, obsidian ships, sharp angles and jagged spines. No visible engines, no heat signatures. But they moved fast, unnaturally fast. Evasive maneuvers, Cole barked. Fire at will. The Vanguard's guns roared, but the enemy ships danced through the fire like shadows. Energy beams sliced past the hull, one glancing hit sending tremors through the decks. Shields at 60%, Dawson reported. The Zaran ships opened fire as well, less disciplined, more desperate. One cruiser took a direct hit and tore apart in a silent flare. Jesus Christ, Richter whispered. They're carving us up. Cole gritted his teeth. We hold this line. Target their engines, whatever's driving them. He watched the tactical display, watched his fleet get cut down piece by piece. The enemy ships didn't communicate, didn't respond. No hails, no mercy, just clinical surgical destruction. It wasn't a battle, it was an execution. The fight raged on. Hours felt like minutes. Cole's voice grew hoarse, barking orders. The Vanguard took hit after hit, internal fires breaking out on multiple decks. We can't win this, sir, Dawson shouted. They're bleeding us dry. Cole's fists clenched around the chair arms. He hated retreat, hated turning his back on a fight. But dead pride was worthless. Signal the Zarans, fall back, emergency jump. Harper hesitated. Sir, the jump lane. Do it, Cole snapped. As the battered fleet turned, the enemy ships pressed closer, relentless. The Vanguard's engines strained. Then the jump drive charged with a gut-wrenching hum. Coordinates locked, Harper cried. Punch it, Cole ordered. Stars twisted. The ship screamed. And then, blackness. When the Vanguard emerged into safe space hours later, the bridge was half lit, consoles sparking. The surviving Zeran ships limped nearby, half their fleet lost. Cole stood amid the wreckage of his command deck, blood drying on his temple. We made it, Richter said quietly. Barely, Cole rasped. Kael'thar's battered image flickered on the comm. You see now? The Zeran commander said grimly. They are not a threat to my kind alone. They will come for you next. Cole met the alien's eyes. Then we'd better be ready. His gaze swept the bridge. His crew battered but alive. His fists curled. This wasn't over. It had only begun. The debrief was hell. The Vanguard and the ragged Zeran survivors limped back into the outer colonies near Titan Station, engines bleeding radiation trails. Even before Cole could step off the bridge, Command was already demanding answers. Why he'd taken the fleet deep into uncharted space, why so many ships had been lost, why humanity was now sitting on the edge of a new war. Cole stood alone in the stark metal briefing chamber aboard Titan Command. Across the holotable sat 3 admirals, cold-eyed and sharp-suited. The kind of men who hadn't seen the front lines in decades, but held every ounce of political power back home. Vice Admiral Brenner's voice was like ice. Captain Cole, you led a joint operation with an alien fleet, without prior approval. You engaged an unknown enemy, without clear intelligence. You risked Earth assets based on the word of a Zeran warlord. Cole's voice was hoarse from days without rest. He didn't flinch. And if I hadn't, we'd be blind to a threat that just carved through one of the galaxy's strongest fleets. Brenner leaned forward. We have no confirmed intelligence of this so-called threat. Cole's fists clenched at his sides. You want confirmation? Pull the flight logs, the combat data. Half my ship's torn to pieces. Half the Zeran fleet is dead. And whoever we fought, they didn't leave a trace for your intel boys to sniff at. Rear Admiral Foster, more cautious, interjected. You're telling us these ships, these things, are coming here. Cole's stare was steel. They will. They don't care about politics. They don't talk. They just kill. An uncomfortable silence followed. The admirals exchanged glances, whispering behind folded hands. Finally, Brenner spoke again, voice clipped. Captain, you're ordered to return the Vanguard to dry dock. Your crew is to stand down. Until we decide the official stance regarding this situation, no further engagement is authorized. Cole's blood boiled. With respect, sir, you're sending us to the barn while a goddamn invasion's coming. Stand. Down, Brenner repeated coldly. This is not your decision. Cole stormed out of the chamber, boots ringing on the deck. He barely reached the docking bay before Richter caught up. They're burying it, Richter said grimly. Cole nodded once. Of course they are. No election wins from starting a war. Down below, Vanguard's battered hull loomed in the dry dock, scorched and pitted. Crews swarmed her, patching what they could. His crew, what was left, stood in knots on the docks, watching him with wary, tired eyes. Dawson approached, arms crossed. We getting kicked to the sidelines, sir? For now, Cole said flatly. Harper joined them. Sir, we're sitting ducks if those things hit now. Cole looked at his people. Hardened, angry. No one here had illusions left. They won't tell the public, Cole said. They'll stall. They'll debate. And when the first colony burns? Dawson asked. Cole's stare was cold. Then they'll start listening, and by then, it'll be too late. That night, Cole sat alone in his quarters aboard the Vanguard. Lights dimmed. The room smelled of old steel and scorched circuitry. The scars of battle were everywhere, cracks in the bulkheads, bloodstains not yet scrubbed clean. He poured a shot of old whiskey. the kind he saved for after missions that went south. This one had gone to hell and back. His comm buzzed. Incoming transmission. Kael'thar, secure channel. Cole hesitated, then accepted. The alien commander's face appeared, even more gaunt than before. Captain Cole, I hear your leaders do not believe. Cole gave a humorless smile. Number they never do until it's too late. Kael'thar inclined his head. Your species is young, but brave. Many of my kind still live because of your actions. Cole took a sip of whiskey. Won't mean much if those ships come for us next. The Zaran's black eyes gleamed. Then we prepare, together. Cole stared hard. What do you have in mind? Kael'thar's voice lowered. Our scouts recovered fragments from the battle site, traces of exotic alloys, technology beyond known empires. I am sending this data to you now. Study it. Learn. A ping hit Cole's console, encrypted schematics, sensor scans, strange energy signatures. Kael'thar's tone darkened. We will not survive alone, Captain. But I see. You understand that. More than your leaders. Cole's jaw tightened. They won't authorize joint operations. Hell, they barely want us talking. Kael'thar's gaze sharpened. Then we do not ask. A dangerous silence hung between them. Finally, Cole nodded. Understood. The next weeks crawled. Command kept Vanguard in dry dock, pending evaluation. Cole's crew were rotated off active duty, scattered across stations. Morale plummeted. Some transferred out. Others drifted toward the bottle. Cole stayed aboard, working alone through the nights, analyzing Kael'thar's data, reviewing combat footage frame by frame. The enemy ships moved like nothing human or Zaran. No heat signatures, no radio signals, just something else, something wrong. One night, as he pored over a grainy recording of the battle, Harper slipped into the darkened CIC. Couldn't sleep either? She asked softly. Cole didn't look up. Too much on my mind. She came to his side, gaze flicking to the frozen image, one of the black ships mid-attack. Harper shivered. They shouldn't move like that. It's not physics. It's something else. Cole exhaled slowly. I know. They watched in silence for a while. Then Harper spoke again. There's talk, sir, in the crew. Some want to walk. They think command's written us off. Cole's voice was rough. They're not wrong. Harper studied him. But you're not walking. No. His eyes burned with cold resolve. If command won't fight this, we will. Harper smiled faintly. Thought you'd say that. A week later, Kael'thar's scouts returned with new intelligence. A faint signal, deep space, matching the enemy's energy signature. A potential lead. Cole brought Richter and Dawson into his quarters, doors sealed. They found a trail, Cole said. Richter frowned. Command will never greenlight an op. We're not asking them, Cole said quietly. Dawson's grin was grim. Going rogue, Captain? Cole looked them both in the eye. I'm not ordering anyone, but I'm going. The Vanguard's still flight-capable enough. We've got allies willing to move, and we've got unfinished business. Richter leaned back. You'll lose your commission. Cole's voice was steel. I'm not in this for medals. A tense beat passed. Then Dawson cracked his knuckles. Hell, I'm in. Richter smirked. You'll need a good XO and someone to keep you alive. Cole's lips twitched. Good. We move fast. Quiet. Word of this gets out, command will ground us for good. They moved under the radar. Cole pulled in loyal crew. Those who'd seen the battle firsthand, who believed. Harper, Dawson, Gunny Briggs and his Marines. Old spacers with more guts than caution. They stalked the Vanguard for a long run. Fuel cells, ammo, cold storage supplies. Kylthar sent 3 of his surviving cruisers to rendezvous, a lean, battle-scarred force. The night before launch, Cole stood alone on the darkened bridge, watching the stars beyond the glass. Richter approached quietly. "They'll brand us deserters." Cole's jaw was set. "Better deserters than dead." Richter glanced out at the black. "You really think we can stop them?" Cole's eyes were cold. "Number, but we can learn, fight smarter, and maybe, buy Earth the time it won't give itself." Richter nodded once. "Then let's go hunting." When the Vanguard's engines flared to life, the dry dock alarms went off too late. By the time Titan Command scrambled intercept ships, Cole's fleet was already gone, vanished into the deep dark. The hunt had begun, and this time, they weren't running blind. The stars out here were colder than any Cole had ever seen. Deep space beyond mapped sectors wasn't empty. It was ancient, quiet in a way that felt wrong, like something was waiting in the dark. The Vanguard cruised silently, her hull patched but running hot, flanked by Kylthar's remaining 3 cruisers. No more bureaucracy, no more waiting for command to wake up. This was a hunting mission now, and a warning one way or another. Cole stood on the bridge, watching the tactical map as it updated. The faint signal Kylthar's scouts had found was moving slowly through a cluster of collapsed stars, a graveyard of dead systems no sane trader or explorer went near. No colonies, no patrols, just black space. Dawson looked up from his console. "I'll say it again, sir. This is the dumbest op I've followed you on." Cole glanced sideways. "You didn't have to come." Dawson grunted. "Yeah, well, somebody's got to keep you alive." Richter smirked faintly from the tactical station. "Signal's still steady. It's not broadcasting, but it's leaking, like they don't care if they're followed." Cole's jaw clenched. "Because they're not afraid of us." Hours turned to days. The fleet followed the faint pulse deeper and deeper into dead space. The stars grew thin, the nav systems began to fail. Gravity distortions, sensor ghosts. It was like flying through a storm no one could see. "We're being watched," Harper muttered one shift, eyes tired on the nav board. Cole nodded. "I know." You could feel it now, something out there, not a ship, not a fleet, something older, worse. 3 days out, the pulse signal suddenly spiked. Harper sat bolt upright. "Captain, we're approaching something. Large mass ahead, no registry." "Visual," Cole ordered. The screen flickered, then locked onto the shape. It wasn't a ship. It was a station, if it could be called that. A massive structure of black alloy hanging dead between 2 collapsed stars. The design made no sense. Spires jutting at impossible angles. No heat. No communications. But the pulse was coming from inside. Kylthar's voice came through. "This was not here before." Cole stared. "A forward base? A trap?" Richter frowned at the data. "It's not transmitting. It's leaking energy, like it was just built or just woken up." The words hung in the air. Cole's instincts screamed, but he also knew this was their best shot at learning something. Anything. "Prep a team," he said. "We're going in." The boarding team was lean. Cole, Dawson, Harper, 4 of Briggs' best Marines, 2 Zeran tech officers. Kylthar's own ship stayed on overwatch. The shuttle ride in was silent. Everyone suited up, weapons hot. The closer they got, the worse it felt. The black station didn't move, didn't respond. But the pulse grew stronger, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. As they docked on a jagged platform, Dawson muttered, "Feels like we're about to step into a damn tomb." Cole's voice was grim. "Stay sharp." Inside, the station was a maze of dark, metallic corridors. No lights, no air. The walls hummed faintly, like they were alive. Harper's voice crackled in the comm. "Picking up faint power signatures. Unknown source." Cole moved at point, rifle up. The deeper they went, the more unnatural it felt. The station wasn't built. It had been grown. No welds, no seams, just seamless black alloy, almost organic. "Sir," one of the Marines whispered, "something's in here." Cole felt it too. Pressure, like a weight behind his eyes. The pulse grew louder. Then they reached it. A central chamber opened before them, vast, spherical. In the center floated something, a dark crystal structure, pulsing with that strange rhythm. Energy readings spiked off the charts. Dawson scanned it. "I don't even know what the hell this is. It's not a reactor. It's not a computer." Kylthar's Zeran officer spoke in their guttural tongue, translated by Harper. "It is a signal core, but it is transmitting into deep subspace, beyond this dimension." Cole's blood ran cold. Calling for reinforcements. Before anyone could respond, the pulse shifted, sharp, rising in pitch. Harper shouted, "It's detected us." "Fall back," Cole ordered. They didn't make it far. The walls themselves seemed to twist, corridors elongating, warping. Doors slammed shut behind them, and from the shadows, shapes emerged. Figures, humanoid in size, but wrong. Jagged limbs, dark alloy skin, empty voids where eyes should have been. Not machines, not life, something in between. "They're here," Dawson shouted. The first shots rang out, bright tracer fire carving through the dark. The shapes moved fast, silent, leaping at the team. "Form up," Cole barked. The fight was brutal. 2 Marines went down in seconds, dragged into the dark, screams cut off. Harper's rifle jammed. Dawson yanked her back behind cover. Cole fought like a man possessed, rifle blazing. The things didn't bleed. They shattered, but more kept coming. "Fall back to the shuttle," he shouted. It was chaos. They broke through the last corridor by sheer force. Dawson laying down heavy fire, Harper dragging a wounded Marine. Cole covered the rear, pulse pounding. They reached the docking bay barely ahead of the swarm. The shuttle's engines screamed to life. "Go," Cole ordered. The pilot punched the thrusters. As the shuttle tore away from the station, the team watched in horror. The black spires of the structure were moving, shifting, reshaping like a living thing. And in the depths of space, more shapes were emerging. Not ships, not yet. But a fleet was coming. Back aboard the Vanguard, the survivors stumbled through decon, armor scorched, faces pale. Cole ripped off his helmet, sweat-soaked. Richter met him in the airlock. "What the hell did you find?" Cole's voice was gravel. "A spawning point. They're building out here." Dawson staggered up. "And they know we're watching now." Kylthar's voice came through on priority channel. "Captain Cole, we must run. Now before they fully awaken." Cole didn't hesitate. "Helm, plot jump coordinates. Emergency jump." As the fleet jumped, the Vanguard's sensors caught one last glimpse of the black station, now glowing, spires rising like spears. It was alive now, and it wasn't alone. When the fleet finally emerged in safe space days later, the tension was a living thing. Half the crew was on edge. The story spread fast, what they'd seen, what they'd fought. Cole called an emergency council aboard Vanguard: Harper, Dawson, Richter, Kylthar, and his officers. "We've got proof now," Cole said. "Recordings, biological samples, combat data." Richter exhaled. "It won't be enough." "They won't believe it," Dawson agreed. "Not until the bodies start piling up." Harper looked grim. "Then we need to make them believe." Kylthar's deep voice echoed through the chamber. "There is no more time for belief, only for war. You have seen it now. Your kind must choose. Stand with us, or fall alone." Cole stared at the tactical map. Deep space, the growing black zone near the dead stars. "They're coming," he said quietly. And Earth wasn't ready, but Cole would be. The transmission hit Earth space a week later. Cole's crew had spent 3 sleepless days packaging everything. Combat footage, scans of the Black Station, biosamples from the dead constructs they'd killed aboard it. They encrypted it and sent it through a dozen backdoor channels toward trusted contacts in the fleet. Officers who still had some spine left. Didn't matter. Command spun it within hours. Official communiques came blaring over the civilian nets. Rogue captain engages in unauthorized expedition. Unsubstantiated claims of unknown threat. Earth remains secure. Cole read the headlines with cold fury from Vanguard's dimmed bridge. "They're burying it," Harper said quietly beside him. Cole's jaw tightened. "Of course they are." Dawson stalked in, armor half on. "Doesn't matter what we send. They've already decided we're liars." Richter brought up a fresh comm feed. "That's not all. Command's issued an order for our arrest. Any fleet asset loyal to Earth is ordered to stand down or fire." A beat of cold silence followed. "They're going to turn on us," Harper whispered. Cole's voice was hard steel. "Let them try." That night, Cole gathered his senior crew, those who hadn't jumped ship yet, in the war room. Kyle and his remaining officers patched in via encrypted link. Cole didn't waste words. "They've branded us traitors. We can't go back. Not yet." Richter asked the obvious. "Then what's the play, Captain?" Cole stabbed a finger at the updated star charts. The black zone was spreading. Kael'thar's scouts now reported faint energy anomalies in surrounding systems. "They're expanding," Cole said flatly. "Not fast, not yet. But in months, maybe weeks, they'll hit human space." He looked each person in the eye. "When they do, Command will still be pretending it isn't happening. Earth won't stand a chance unless we're ready." Dawson cracked his knuckles. "So we get ready." Cole nodded once. "We hit them first." It was suicide by normal standards. Vanguard was barely repaired. The Zaran cruisers were hanging on with patched systems. Ammo was low, supplies thinner. But morale was sharp now. The fear had burned away, leaving anger, purpose. Cole split the fleet into scout elements. Kael'thar's ships ranged ahead, following the gravitational distortions that always seemed to accompany the black constructs. Vanguard and her Marines trained non-stop. Close quarters, zero-G, new boarding tactics. Because Cole had a theory. "You can't outgun them," he told the Marines one grim session. "They move faster, think faster, but they've got to be running off something. A core, a central intelligence. You get inside, you shut that down." Gunny Briggs grinned through a scarred faceplate. "So we go for the throat." Cole nodded. "Exactly." Kael'thar brought the first target 2 weeks later. A lone enemy vessel, isolated, moving slowly through a dead sector. Scouting? Seeding? No one knew. Cole called the strike op himself. "This is our shot," he told the crew. "We take it down, we learn how it ticks." The assault was brutal. Vanguard dropped in from FTL just ahead of the black ship, a long, spined shape moving through the void. No crew life signs, no communications, no heat. Cole's fleet hit it with everything: plasma lances, torpedoes, EMP barrages. And it kept coming. The thing didn't return fire, not at first. It just accelerated straight toward them, cutting through the barrage like a shark through water. "Engage ramming maneuvers," Harper shouted. Cole's blood went cold. "Brace for impact!" Vanguard rolled hard, barely dodging as the black ship's spines grazed her dorsal hull, ripping away armor plates. 2 of Kael'thar's cruisers took heavy hits. 1 lost an engine. But then, Dawson's team locked on. "We've got a weak point," he barked. "Something near its mid-hull. Cracks when it shifts." Cole didn't hesitate. Marines, launch! Briggs' Marine shuttle slammed into the alien ship's flank like a hammer. They cut through with breaching charges, forcing a narrow entry. What they found inside defied logic. The corridors weren't built. They were grown, like inside the station. Metallic tissue pulsed beneath the plating. No gravity, no up or down. And shapes moved in the dark. The Marines fought through, weapons cutting down the shadow constructs one by one. But every corridor felt endless, like the ship was warping itself in response. Then Harper's scanners finally hit pay dirt. "Captain, we've got a core signature, deep inside." Cole's voice was stone. "Take it out." The fight to the core was savage. Briggs lost 2 men, another wounded and dragged back to the shuttle. But they made it. A vast spherical chamber with a pulsing black lattice at its heart. Dawson's voice came sharp over comms. "Sir, we hit this. Ship's dead." "Do it," Cole ordered. The charges went off like thunder. The core cracked, energy surging, shattering the ship's internal systems. Outside, Vanguard pulled back hard. "Enemy ship destabilizing," Harper shouted. On the main screen, the black vessel convulsed, then tore itself apart in a cold, silent implosion. They'd killed 1. The crew barely had time to breathe. Kael'thar hailed them within hours. "Scout reports. Enemy ships converging. They know now." Cole wiped sweat from his brow. "How many?" "Too many." Cole looked around his battered bridge. His crew still at stations, faces pale but hard. "Then we move," he said. "We find another, and we keep hitting them." Richter glanced over. "Sir, 1 ship cost us hell. We do this too long. We're out of fight." Cole's voice was low and cold. "We don't stop. We hit. We learn. Because when they come for Earth, we won't get another shot." The rogue fleet hunted on. In the weeks that followed, Vanguard and her allies became ghosts, striking small enemy ships, seeding beacons to track their movements, testing new weapons. Command sent bounty hunters. Traitor Fleet, they called them now. Earth media painted Cole as a renegade, a warmonger. Didn't matter. The Black Fleet was growing. Cole saw it on every new scan, the spread of their dark zones, system after system going silent. And every time they fought the enemy, the constructs adapted. Faster, harder. The clock was ticking. Late one cycle, Dawson brought grim news to Cole's quarters. "They're hitting colonies now," he said quietly. "Outposts on the rim, going dark. Civi traffic picking up fragments. No survivors." Cole's gut turned to ice. "How long till Earth space?" Dawson's voice was flat. 2 months, maybe less." Cole leaned forward, eyes burning. "Then we hit them harder." Word spread through the rogue fleet. Captain Cole wasn't pulling back, wasn't running. He was going to take the fight to them. Not because he thought they could win, but because sometimes the only thing that mattered was making the enemy bleed. They didn't sleep much anymore. On the Vanguard, rest had become a luxury the crew couldn't afford. The ship was patched with whatever scrap they could salvage, hull plating jury-rigged from wrecks. Half the decks ran on backup power, but no one asked to go home. Not now, because the enemy was coming, and they had a head start. Cole sat alone in the war room, staring at the growing enemy incursion maps. Red zones spreading through the rim, system after system falling dark. 2 months, maybe less, and Earth Command was still issuing denials, still branding Cole's fleet as outlaws. Good, Cole thought grimly. Let them. He didn't have time for politicians. When Kael'thar's latest scouts returned, Cole gathered his core officers on Vanguard's battered bridge. "This is it," Kael'thar said, his face hollow in the holofeed. "They are building something. A new structure, massive, a core hive." Cole's jaw tightened. Where? Kael'thar brought up the star charts. An unclaimed system near the Galactic drift. A dead world, long stripped by ancient forces. They are drawing power from the planet's core, Kael'thar explained. Spawning new vessels. Many? Dawson folded his arms. So they're not just hunting now. They're staging. Cole nodded slowly. A forward base for the invasion. Richter leaned over the map. How bad's the force? Kael'thar's black eyes gleamed. Too large for us to face in battle, but the station is not yet complete. A dangerous silence followed. Harper said quietly, "You're thinking of hitting it." Cole's voice was low, cold. "Damn right I am." The briefing was short. Cole didn't waste time with motivational speeches. His crew weren't rookies. They'd fought, bled, and lost too many already. They knew the stakes. "Listen up," Cole told them in the ship's main bay. "This is a one-way op. We hit the station, we cripple it. We buy Earth time." He looked across their faces. Marines, engineers, gunners, pilots, hardened, scars on every face. "Some of us won't be coming back," Cole said, "but we're the only ones out here who know what's coming. We stop this now, or Earth burns." Gunny Briggs grinned. "Sir, with all respect, we already knew that." A rumble of grim laughter rolled through the room. They were ready. The rogue fleet moved fast. Vanguard, Kael'thar's 3 remaining cruisers, and a pair of defected human corvettes, all that remained of the force. Cole took the lead, plotting the jump vectors himself. He trusted no one else now. As the fleet dropped into the target system, alarms flared. "Contacts, multiple," Harper called. The enemy was there. A vast black structure hung above the dead world, spires like fangs biting into the planet's crust. Scores of enemy vessels swarmed in defensive patterns. Cole's blood ran cold. "It's worse than we thought," Richter muttered. Dawson looked at Cole. "Call it off?" Cole's eyes burned. "Number, we finish this. The plan was brutal. Vanguard and the cruisers would engage the outer fleet, draw their fire. Meanwhile, Briggs Marines and Kael'thar's strike teams would drop on the station itself, plant charges, cripple the core. No retreat, no fallback. Do it, or die trying. The battle began in fire. Vanguard's guns roared to life, plasma lances ripping into the nearest black ships. Enemy constructs surged forward, silent, fast, relentless. "Evasive," Cole barked. Harper threw the ship into a brutal roll, enemy beams slicing past, shaking the decks. "We've got hull breaches, decks 9 and 12, Dawson shouted. "Seal 'em, keep firing," Cole ordered. Briggs' drop shuttles launched through the chaos, streaking toward the black station. Kael'thar's fighters ran escort, taking heavy losses. Inside the drop shuttle, Briggs checked his rifle. "First one's in," he told his squad. "Last one's out." The Marines grinned through bloodied helmets. The boarding was hell. The black station fought them, shifting walls, spawning new constructs in endless waves. Briggs's voice came through the comm. Tight. "We're breaching the core chamber." "Hold that line," Cole shouted from Vanguard's bridge. But time was running out. Vanguard took another brutal hit, internal fires raging. "We can't hold this line much longer," Harper called. Richter looked at Cole. "Sir, if we pull back now, we lose everything." Cole's voice was hoarse. "We're not pulling back." On the station, Briggs's team reached the core, a vast chamber of pulsing black lattice. "Charges set," Briggs reported, but enemy reinforcements poured in. "Sir, we'll be trapped if we stay." Cole's voice cut through the comm. "Do it. Blow it and get out if you can." Briggs looked at his men, wounded, bloodied. They nodded. "Understood," Briggs said. The charges detonated with a force that shook the entire station, black spires cracking, energy surging out of control. On the Vanguard's bridge, Harper shouted, "Core destabilizing!" They're breaking off! Enemy ships began spiraling out of control, some tearing themselves apart as the station imploded. Cole grabbed the comm. All ships, jump now. Emergency evac. Vanguard's engines flared, barely pulling clear of the collapsing system. Hours later, the battered fleet regrouped in deep space. Losses were brutal. One Zeran cruiser gone. One human corvette lost with all hands. Briggs' strike team. Only 4 survivors made it back. Cole stood in the med bay, looking down at Briggs, burned, barely conscious. You did it, Cole said quietly. Briggs coughed a bloody grin. Damn right. The fleet was on the run now. Burned, hunted, but they'd struck a blow. They'd bought time. Cole gathered his surviving officers. This war isn't over, he told them. It's just starting. But they know now. We're not prey. He looked at the stars, cold and vast, and he swore. I'll burn every last one of them before they touch Earth. Aboard Vanguard, everything stank of burned metal and blood. The ship had barely survived the assault on the Black Station. Whole decks were sealed, casualties stacked in cold storage bays. The surviving crew moved like ghosts, exhausted, bloodshot eyes, faces hollow. But the core was gone. For now. Cole stood alone in the CIC, dim emergency lights flickering overhead. The enemy maps had changed. No new incursions in the last 2 cycles. The crippled station had forced them to shift. They were regrouping, learning. But so was Cole, and so was Earth, whether Command liked it or not. It started with the leaks. Kael'thar's allies in human space, spies, sympathizers, began transmitting Vanguard's battle footage across the outer colonies. Rogue netcasters picked it up, pirate channels, black market feeds. Within a week, the public saw the truth. Grainy vids of the black constructs tearing ships apart, screams over comms, the battle above the station. Humanity isn't alone anymore, one feed said, and we're not at the top of the food chain. Civilian outcry was immediate. Colonies began demanding emergency defenses. Shipyards started rushing production. And Command? Command couldn't spin fast enough. Cole watched it unfold with grim satisfaction. From a hidden outpost near a binary star, Vanguard waited. Repairs underway, crews rebuilding what they could. Kael'thar's surviving forces had linked up, a battered coalition of defectors and loyalists. They weren't many, but they were fighters now. Richter stood at Cole's side as the latest news feeds rolled in. They're losing the narrative, Richter said. Cole nodded. Good. Harper walked in, a datapad in hand. Sir, civilian fleets are arming, smugglers, miners, even transport crews. People are getting ready. Dawson followed, grinning despite the bandages on his side. Guess you're a folk hero now, Captain. The rogue who fought the darkness. He snorted. Not bad for a man with a shoot-on-sight order. Cole gave a dry smile. They can try. But there wasn't time for celebrations. Kael'thar's scouts brought worse news. They are building again, Kael'thar said grimly. Deeper now, new constructs, faster, harder. Cole leaned over the holomap. How long till they push again? Kael'thar's eyes gleamed cold. Weeks, perhaps days. Cole's fist clenched on the console. We stopped them. Again. This time the fleet wasn't alone. Word had spread. Other rogue captains answered Cole's signal. Old warships, civilian gunboats, retrofitted freighters with railguns welded to their spines. A ragged, desperate force, but one with teeth. Cole addressed them all from Vanguard's battered CIC. Signal boosted across the fleet. You've all seen what's coming, he told them, voice low but steady. You know Earth Command won't act in time. That's on us now. He looked around at the faces. Grizzled spacers, scarred Marines, Zeran warriors. We fight. We hurt them. And when Earth finally wakes up, we make sure there's still something left to fight for." The fleet roared back. "For Earth! For the fleet! For survival!" The new target was deep, an enemy assembly zone hidden in the core shadows of a dying gas giant. The approach was brutal, gravitational tides tearing at the ships, but Cole's fleet pressed on. "We've done worse," Dawson muttered, strapping in. Harper grinned. "And lived." Cole sat in the command chair, eyes cold. "This is where we bleed them," he said. "This time we break them." The battle was hell. The enemy was ready this time. Dozens of black constructs swarmed, new variants, faster, with adaptive shielding. Cole's fleet hit hard, gunners fighting until their barrels glowed, but the enemy kept coming. "Shields at 20, Harper called. "Multiple breaches." "Hold," Cole barked. "Strike teams, launch!" Briggs's Marines, what remained of them, led the boarding waves. Kael'thar's shock troopers followed. Inside the black constructs, the fighting was savage, hand to hand in shifting corridors of living metal. Briggs's last transmission was brutal. "Core breached. We're taking this bastard down." Then static. Cole's jaw tightened, but there was no time to grieve. One by one, the black constructs began to falter, cores rupturing under sustained assault. The enemy force broke. And for the first time since this war began, the rogue fleet held the field. But the cost was staggering. Half the fleet lost, hundreds dead, Vanguard limping on emergency power. Cole sat on the ruined bridge, blood on his face, watching the shattered enemy wreckage drift in space. "We bought time," Richter said hoarsely. Cole nodded. "And Earth better damn well use it." They limped back toward human space, bracing for Command's response. But something had changed. The tide of public outrage had broken the dam. Earth Command was forced to act. Emergency mobilizations, fleet deployments, outer colonies armed to the teeth, war production ramping to full tilt. And Cole's fleet? Pardoned on public demand, officially reinstated. Unofficially, still the sharpest spear Earth had left. When Vanguard docked at Mars Command for repairs, Cole stepped off the battered ship to a sea of cameras and shouting civilians. He ignored them all, walking straight to the war room. The admirals were waiting, stone-faced, forced to acknowledge him now. Vice Admiral Brenner, older, more tired, met Cole's gaze. "You were right," Brenner said simply. Cole's voice was cold. "And too damn late." Brenner nodded once. "Help us fix it?" Cole didn't care about rank anymore. What mattered was this: Earth was finally fighting back, and Cole would be leading the charge. A month later, the new Earth fleet launched. Bigger, better, armed with everything Cole's rogue crews had learned. And at its heart, Vanguard, rebuilt and ready. Cole stood once more on the bridge, watching the stars. Harper at helm, Dawson at engineering, Richter by his side. New recruits, hard-eyed, battle-tested. Kael'thar's forces now formally allied. And ahead, deep space. The enemy was still out there, growing, learning, but now, so was humanity. And this time, they weren't hunting prey, they were hunting back. Cole gripped the rail as Vanguard's engines flared. "Take us in," he said, voice steady. "For Earth." And the hunt began.